guys, welcome back to Daughters of the King. Thank you so much for joining me today. If you're new to this channel, welcome. My name is Layla and I am so glad that you have joined and clicked on this video today. So most of you are probably wondering, how does this girl, me, have this YouTube channel called Daughters of the King and not have a video on modesty? Like, that is probably one of the main topics, I guess, when it comes to girls, Christian girls specifically. And in all honesty, I have been avoiding this topic. I've been avoiding it. That is because of two main reasons. So the first reason being, I know that this topic can be very controversial. At the end of the day, I do believe that the Lord looks upon the heart. You know, someone can be dressed super modest all the time and have everything on the outward appearance going super well, but their heart is not right with God. And we all know that God doesn't look on our outward appearance, but he looks on the heart. And so that's what I really want to emphasize at the beginning of this video. I do want to say that this video is not to tell you why you should dress modestly, but why you should desire to dress modestly. Dressing modestly as a Christian should come from you. It should come from your heart. You should desire to do it. It shouldn't just be a set of rules that you're just following because you have to do it. I do believe that it should come from the heart. And so anyways, that's the main reason. The second reason is because honestly, guys, I struggle with modesty. I do. It's something that I struggle with. Apparently, not everyone struggles with modesty, okay, guys? I was so shocked by these results on Instagram, okay? So I did a poll last week and I asked how many of you guys struggle with modesty on a day-to-day basis. Guys, like, these results were so shocking to me. 71% of you guys said no and 29% of you said yes. So only 29% of you guys, I guess, that answered the poll struggle with modesty and 71% of you guys don't. So if you were part of that 71% that voted no, can you please tell me in the comments, like, how? I mean, I guess for me, it is definitely something that I do struggle with. Okay, but then I asked another poll, and this one I asked if social media influences the way that you dress. And 67% of you guys said yes, and 33% of you guys said no. So whether you struggle with dressing modesty or not, at the end of the day, we are all following and looking up to different people as examples as to what to wear. And that's why I think it's important that more Christian girls stand up and set a different example than the world, a modest example, because you can still be pretty and beautiful and elegant while still being modest. So I want to give about 3 categories that you are either in, okay? The first category is you choose to dress modestly and you don't struggle with it at all. You just, every day, you know, you are modest and it's not a struggle. Clearly, that's 71% of you guys. The second category is you choose to be modest, you want to be modest, but it is a struggle at times. You do struggle with it. I would put myself in this category. The third category is you don't practice modesty and it's not something that you even desire to practice in your life. And so whichever category that you are in, I do hope and pray that this video will kind of, I guess, steer you towards considering modesty as a part of your daily lifestyle, especially if you are a Christian and you desire to please the Lord. So as I mentioned earlier, the whole purpose of this video is to, I guess, get you to have a heart change towards modesty, not a bunch of rules. I'm not here to tell you what is modest, what's not modest, because something that may be modest on me might not necessarily be modest on you, just because every single person has different body types and different body shapes, and, you know, vice versa. Something that might be modest on you might not necessarily be modest on me. And so I think that it's important that we grasp this concept that you can't look at other people and compare yourself and be like, well, if she wears that, then I can wear it too. Well, maybe on her it looks modest, but on you it wouldn't. So I think you have to just always keep that concept in mind, that you can't compare yourself to other people, I guess, that don't have the same body structure as you. And I might talk about this in another video where I actually want to put together some outfits and I want to actually kind of show how I try to practice modesty in my day-to-day lifestyle. And I'm actually going to talk a little bit about that, like different body types and stuff like that. But in this video, I really want to talk about why our hearts should desire modesty. Not why we should dress modest, but why we should desire it. So number one, the main reason why we should desire modesty is because simply God has commanded us to. So let's see what the Bible has to say about this. The famous Bible verse on modesty, which is 2 Timothy 2:9. It says, "In like manner also that women adorn themselves in modest apparel, with shamefacedness and sobriety, not with broidered hair or gold or pearls or costly array, but which becometh woman professing godliness with good works." So clearly, the Bible states in the New Testament that women should adorn themselves in modest apparel. This is where it's a heart change. If God has asked you to do something, if you know that it pleases God to dress modestly, then why wouldn't we do it? Think of someone on this earth that you really, really love. And let's say they came up to you and asked you to do something, and it might be still a struggle for you, or maybe it's something that you don't really necessarily want to do or you struggle with, but you will do it because you love them and you want to please them and you want to see them happy. And how much more should we desire that about the Lord? We should desire to please Him. I always say whenever I pray, Lord, I pray that everything that I do today, every time I wake up, would be glorifying to you and edifying, and that you will look down and be pleased. And modesty is something that God has commanded us to do. And as Christians, I believe that we should desire to do that because it's God's commandment. And if God desires it, then we should desire it as well. The closer you draw nigh to the Lord, the more you will want what He wants. And so it'll be easier to dress modestly because you love Him. And it's a relationship that you have to form with Him to have the same, desires as He has for your life. So number one is really just because God has commanded us to, and we should desire that because He has asked us to do this specific thing. Secondly is for your testimony. So guys, your testimony speaks louder than words. It's so easy to say things. That's part of the reason why I was a little bit stressed about doing this video, is because I feel like, honestly, I haven't mastered the idea of modesty in my life. There are times where I feel like, maybe I shouldn't have worn that, or maybe it wasn't the most modest thing to wear. I don't want to come on here and tell someone else to do something when I'm not practicing that in my own life. But at the end of the day, modesty is something that I do try to practice in every setting of my life because of testimony. You shouldn't just want to be modest at church. You should want to be modest everywhere you go, when you go to work, when you go out. You should keep that all the time because your testimony speaks louder than words. If you are a girl or an older girl or even a younger girl, there's always someone else looking up to you. And especially as a Christian girl with so much influence from this world portraying that, non-modest apparel, as a Christian, you should be grounded and firm in your testimony and what you wear, because there are other people looking up to you and you would not want to lead them or guide them in a wrong direction. So your testimony is very important. The third reason why you should desire to dress modestly is because we are royalty. If you are part of God's family, if you are a born-again Christian, you are a daughter of the King. Hence why I named the channel this name. And so it's important that as a Christian, we realize that we are part of God's family and we should be dressing like it. An example that I like to use is Kate Middleton. Okay, so Kate Middleton is obviously the princess. You never see her, going out in a crop top and leggings. You will always see her dressed super modestly. And I honestly, look up to her for, outfit inspiration. And I'll talk about that in my next video that I want to do. But you never see the princess wearing immodest clothes. She's always modest. Now, I'm not saying that you need to wear these fancy clothes or fancy dresses and walk around like a princess. I'm just saying that I think it should be a desire because you are part of a royal family. And I don't want this to come across that Christians are better than anyone else. Jesus died for every single person on the face of this earth. And He died for everyone because He loves everyone equally. And you can be part of this royal family by accepting Jesus Christ as your personal Savior. So I'm not saying that Christians are better than anyone else. We are sinners just like anyone else. We have just accepted Jesus Christ as our Savior. And if you are a Christian, you should act and dress like it. Okay, so the fourth reason is because the way you dress affects the way you act and your mood. Okay, so I want to explain this one. So for example, I'm a nurse. Okay, so when I go to the hospital, I change into scrubs. We all have different roles in life. When you go to work, your role is being an employee. And for me, I'm a nurse. And so I put on my scrubs, which is my uniform, and people can identify me as a nurse because of what I'm wearing. I have scrubs on, I have my badge on, I have a stethoscope, and so I play the role of a nurse when I am at work. That's how we should view modesty. The difference though is that you're not a Christian sometimes and not a Christian other times. We are always Christians. Once you are a Christian, you are always a Christian. And so I think it's important to remember this concept that the way that you dress should not just be, oh, I dress modest in church, and then when I go do my other activities, outside, I can dress whichever way I want. I think that it should be a lifestyle, because whenever you do dress modestly, it encourages you to act more like a Christian. For example, if you are at the grocery store and you are, let's say, dressed very immodestly because you don't care, you're just going to the grocery store. You're probably not going to want to give the cashier a track or witness to someone because you're inappropriately dressed. But for example, when you're dressed modestly, you want to act like a Christian, you'll give someone a track, you'll tell someone about the Lord. And I don't believe that your identity is based on what you wear. I don't believe that, but I do believe that what you do wear is a statement. You are telling the world, you're basically describing to the world who you are. When you see strangers, the first thing they see about you is your outer appearance. Yes, God looks upon the heart, and your heart should be right because that's what God sees. But other people don't see your heart. They will see your outward appearance, and it is important that you dress in a certain way that tells people, I am a Christian. The fifth reason is because you value your body. And I know that this is so opposite of what everyone says, especially with this feminist movement. It's if you value yourself and your body, you're gonna show it. Sorry to say, but it should be the opposite. You should value your body, that you will not show every single aspect of it. Jesus Christ died for you. He bought your body with the price of his blood. And so as Christians, it should be our desire to, cover ourselves. It doesn't mean that you need to look like Amish and wear always baggy clothes and not look good. But I think you should value your body enough to still, yes, look beautiful and look pretty, but covering up. You're not just making your body accessible to the world. I mean, now on Instagram, it's crazy. There's just so literally people are just posting their bodies and just showing every single aspect of it. And it's just there's no value in that. When you get married, every single person on the internet has already seen everything. What is there? There's nothing to hide anymore. It's just everyone's seen it. And so I think that if you do value it, you will, respect yourself and cover. I know that that's very controversial and that's very not accepted, I guess, in this day and age. And you may not even agree with me on this point, but like I said, I don't believe that we should be judging people for what they're wearing. And I'm gonna be very honest, I do not judge my friends or the people in my life that don't practice modesty. I really don't. I just think that as a Christian, it should be something that we desire. The last, number 6, the last reason why is because you don't want to be a reason for a man to stumble. All right, guys, this is a big one. I've heard a lot of different ideas about this one, okay? So I have heard people say, well, it doesn't matter what I wear. I shouldn't have to worry about what other people think. If they're gonna think anything, well, that's their fault. Not necessarily. If you are wearing clothes that are very, very revealing and very provocative, what do you want a man to think? I feel as girls, we don't really realize that sometimes, we're very selfish and we think of ourselves oh, well, I look good in this, so I want to wear it. Yeah, but what if there's someone else that's struggling? You don't want to be a stumbling block for them. And I feel this is especially true when you go to church. Church is a place where people come. It's a holy place. It's a place where people come to get right with God, to confess their sins, to worship God. It's a place where God meets with his people. If you are going to church dressed super provocatively and, showing so much skin or just dressing in a way that is very immodest, why would you want to do that? Why would you want to cause a man to stumble? If you love the brethren in your church, if you care for them, you would not want them to fall. You would not want them to sin. And so you will choose to dress modestly, even if it means, yeah, okay, maybe you won't look as good as you potentially could, but you are choosing to be modest because you don't want someone to fall. Now, I get it. You can be wearing a sack of potatoes and a guy can think whatever he wants. Obviously that you can't control, you can't control everyone's thoughts, what they think, but I do think that you should be wise when you decide what to wear, especially when you go to church, just because it is a holy place. And at the end of the day, it's not even about you, especially even me, I get so caught up in the fashion and looking good, but it's not about us, especially when we go to church. We should strive to go there to meet with God, not to just look good. Okay, so always keep that in mind. I'm not here to tell you what's modest and what's not. Like I said, we all have different body types. At the end of the day, you know what's modest for you, and I know what's modest on me. And so, you know, certain people have different convictions. Some people believe that wearing skirts all the time is a form of modesty. And I think that that is so beautiful. And if you are someone who is doing that, I encourage you to keep doing that, because that is such a beautiful thing. If you don't believe that, if you believe in wearing pants, I mean, there are pants that are more modest than others. And there are skirts that are more modest than others. You know, there are some skirts that are not modest. So it's all about balance. It's all about conviction. I believe that the closer you get to God, the more He convicts you about certain things. And so don't compare yourself to someone else. You might be somewhere in your Christian life and someone else might not be there. So don't judge someone because of what they're wearing, because they might be just, you know, at a different place in their spiritual walk with God. So that is it, guys. That is today's video. I really hope and pray that it was a blessing. At the end of the day, I do want to say, like I said at the beginning, it's really all about the heart. And I don't think that we should be judging people according to what they are wearing. You know, in the Bible, the Pharisees, you know, they were doing everything right on the outward appearance, everything. They were dressed well, they did all good deeds, they tithed, they did it all, but their heart was not right with God. They were hypocritical, they were envious. And I believe that that is the main thing that you got to work with, your heart. And then as you work on your heart and start to clean that up, the outward appearance follows. So I'm not here to put convictions on you and rules on you. I just do think that modesty should be something that we desire to do because of those 6 reasons. So guys, I hope and pray that this video was a blessing. If it was, don't forget to leave a comment down below. I would love to hear from you guys. I always love hearing from you guys. It's such a blessing and it is so encouraging, and I am so grateful for each and every one of you. Thank you again for watching, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.